Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Wave Media. Welcome back, Midnight viewers. Been a while. I'm Father Malone. Sitting next to me in her codependent glory is Miss Ripley Jean. Yes, you are. Yes, we are. You need me for food and shelter, and I need you to wake me up after I've been asleep for 20 minutes to let me know you definitely heard a monster lurking somewhere in the vicinity. That was one time, and it was a goblin, which are more pests than anything. But you're right. You're a good guard dog. Just a potato with legs and all other regards. Let me ask you something, Pittsburgh. How you sleeping? Anyone remember King Kaiser? I realize I should retitle the show to simply The Roundup, but I'm doing my best, y'all. Twice a week is serious business. Speaking of that, thank you to all my patrons. I didn't realize that there were that many of you. I just show up and post a new episode and hope you're enjoying. And you seem to be. That's patreon.com/Father Malone. We've got new shows only available there, and of course, everything early. And I'm not talking day before early, man. Unless I just finished it and it comes out the next day, of course. I'm talking weeks in advance. Speaking of new shows or legacy sequels, Chris Stashew, our frequent collaborator here at Midnight Viewing, has an all-new, reconfigured, primed and pumped, fresh coat of paint version of the Culture Cast debuting, a much more personalized version of the show. I've heard an early episode. Check him out. He's got a Patreon too. Everyone's got a Patreon. And since we're talking Patreon, I'm so excited to announce I'll be featured on a Patreon exclusive show with Paul Waller, the host of A Year in Horror podcast. It'll be on his Patreon feed, and then once the entire series is complete, will be available to the non-paying public, but that's like a year off at least. The show is called Little Old Lady Got Mutilated Late Last Night. Can you guess the subject? If you can, you're cool. If you can't, it's a werewolf show. We're looking at lycanthropy through the ages, starting with Mr. Lon Chaney and the Wolfman. We've already got a couple of episodes done, and they are a fucking blast. If you want to hear what that will sound like, you can check out Paul on a previous episode of Midnight Viewing, where we discussed George Romero and Stephen King's, and I think might be my favorite movie of all time. Sorry, Dawn of the Dead, you're still in the family. Creep Show. And if you head over to Paul's show, A Year in Horror, the best horror podcast out there. Better than this? Yep, might be. This month, he is looking at the works of Wes Craven, and I'm on the first episode talking about my main man, Swamp Thing. And check out episode 4 of his Wes Craven series. I got to Paul before he went to press, and he graciously allowed a rebuttal on his show. He is fucking awesome. A Year in Horror is fucking awesome. You know what else is awesome? Halloween. And it's coming. Every year, the spooky season begins a little earlier. Them skeletons and ghosties start popping up for purchase in late July. But the actual witching season is October. And to start the festivities right, come to Las Vegas. We don't have leaves changing or a chill that seeps down into your bones, but we will have hot rods and horror every which way. Mark that calendar, October 4th and 5th, 2025, at the Silverton Hotel and Casino, the Nightmare in Vegas convention and car show. They've got guests, they've got vendors, they've got blood and gore and so much more. And this year they've got midnight viewing. That's right, we're going to be on display for both days of the convention. Stop by and argue with me about Tales from the Crypt. It's bad. You're blinded by nostalgia. That message is for Lono specifically, but all of you really. And it won't be just me, oh no. Winging in from Beantown will be Mr. H.P. Come to the booth and make him compose you a ditty. He's quite good at that. Also joining us will be the aforementioned Chris Stashu from the Culture Cast, winging in from Wheatville. Isn't that what Nebraska is known for? Just a whole state designed to murder me. Not featured, Mike White, 'cause he's selfish. Detroit versus everybody indeed. So come down to the Silverton Casino on October 4th and 5th. Nightmare in Vegas. Let me tell you something. Las Vegas in autumn is fucking heavenly. I'll push no more, but I will put links in the show notes to all of this malarkey. Hit these people up and let them know Father Malone sent you. You know where it isn't fucking heavenly? The Hyborian Age. That's where I've been spending too much of my time lately. You remember the Hyborian Age? Between the times when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Ares? It was an age undreamed of? I'm talking, of course, about Robert Howard's Conan the Barbarian. Have I been watching the movie on a loop for weeks? Or have I been going back through the novels and fragments of novels and trying to separate that fucking villain L. Sprague de Camp, I hope I mispronounced that, from Howard's original work? Maybe you might not know this. Robert E. Howard was a Texas lunatic who wrote a ton of pulp adventures featuring a ton of diverse characters. In supporting roles. In the main role, he kept recycling and reusing the same hero in different garb, bound by the different rules of the different ages. The true distilled version being Conan the Cimmerian, Conan the Barbarian, Conan the King. If I'm being totally honest with you, Conan is my second favorite Howard hero. I'm a sucker for a pilgrim fighting demons, which is a facile way to describe his righteous Puritan Solomon Kane. They made a film about him a few years back with James Purefoy in the lead. He was okay. The movie was okay, which is a drag because it has some fucking great moments in it. It was an abandoned and or shelved production and ultimately relies too much on CGI that never had enough time or money to sustain it. But though it is worth a look, it almost gets the spirit of the books, which is my way of saying, read the Solomon Kane novels. You can read them all in a couple of days. They're great stuff. Anyway, Robert E. Howard. Did you know he was pen pals with H.P. Lovecraft? It's true. They had spirited discussions about their individual created universes, Howard's Hyborian Age and Lovecraft's Old God mythos. You should read those too. So Howard ekes out an existence, and it all ended horribly. But his human drama was just the fucking appetizer because Howard is dead in 1936. His father continues publishing the books through the 40s to pretty great success. The editor of those novels is the prick I named, L. Sprague de Camp. When the popularity of Conan was apparent, de Camp and a few others began expanding the adventures of Conan, which is fine. Extended universes are what they are. But de Camp started engaging what is euphemistically referred to as pastiche, which is a 10-cent way to say he rewrote a lot of Howard's original work. The motivation supposedly was to get the character more in line with all of the future adventures. Well, fuck that, man. You're not George Lucas. This ain't Star Wars. It's stupid shit, too, like adding the numbers of armies. There were 3,000 Volusians. Oh, thanks. I'm sure Howard, meticulous in his own writing, left that out accidentally. Not only that, DeCamp then suppressed all of the original work from being reprinted. That way, he's drawing a salary and has control of all of Conan. And the motherfucker wrote a biography of Robert Howard that is less than charitable. Anyway, no, I haven't been watching the movie or rereading the novels or watching the TV series. Remember that? Conan the Adventurer. They figured another muscled guy with Germanic name equals instant Conan. Incorrect. Or the cartoon. Have you seen the Conan cartoon? I mean, cartoons, plural. That first animated film was another Conan the Adventurer. That was in 93. That one was such a huge success. I mean, we're really all still talking about it. That the very next year, they released Conan and the Young Warriors. They are terrible. Actually, there's a fan-made tribute film on YouTube called Conan the Cimmerian by a fella named Alison. If they made that into an animated series, it'd be something special. Check the show notes. I have neither been engaged with any of that media, nor have I been reading the many, many comic books. You ever hear Quentin Tarantino talk about Conan? It's usually in the framework of the John Milius film, but any talk of the character outside of that is completely and utterly rooted in the Marvel comics of the 70s. He seems to have no other frame of reference. It's super weird. So, not them, not the board games. Oh my god, remember the Conan Unchained module for D&D? No, you don't, but it was great. He had his own role-playing game in 85. No, I'm talking video games, and there have been a lot. If you were unlucky enough to be a Conan fan back in 84, we got Conan the Hall of Volta, which was basically a mashup of Donkey Kong and Jungle Hunt. What a crashing disappointment. Then I want to say 91, there was a top-down gauntlet-style Conan, which was a little better because at least the figures resembled humans. Most recently, we had Conan Exiles. There are a lot of proponents for it. I have still yet to dip my toe, because somehow I'd missed out on the 2007 Xbox 360 game simply called Conan.
Mother Nature can be brutal when she wants to be, huh? I knew a man once who thought he could take her power and use it as his own. Imagine that. Perhaps tonight I'll tell you a new story. A story of adventure, dark magic, and Conan. Listen. I will tell you a tale of an age undreamed of, when shining kingdoms lay spread across the world like blue mantles beneath the stars. Hither came Conan, the Cimmerian, black-haired, sullen-eyed, sword in hand, a thief, a reaver, a slayer, to tread the jeweled thrones of the earth under his sandaled feet. Conan's lust for adventure and gold led him to Balmoria, a solitary island lost to the far western sea. He made his way toward a long-forgotten tomb on the highest peak, and there he did battle.
Where in Crom have you been all my life? Look, Conan is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is Conan. If you asked anyone to describe Conan, you're getting Arnold. And that trend continued in that TV show and the remake with Jason Momoa, muscle-bound Conan slashing through the wilderness. But that's not how he's described. And most of the early illustrations have a pretty fit-looking fella. But the reason, I'm convinced, in the character's continued popularity through the 60s, thus propelling it into the 70s when filmmakers became interested, were the illustrations done by Mr. Frank Frazetta. Now, he is no slouch when it comes to over-muscled behemoths, but his Conan wasn't that. He's the ideal of physical perfection, but it's all coiled and sleek, with a mop of black hair raining down, except for his bangs. Yes, Conan has bangs, a proscenium to showcase his ice blue eyes. It's the best version of the character we're ever going to get, and it is the model for Conan in this game. I'm actually glad I didn't find it earlier. What a fucking treat to be controlling Frazetta characters in a Frazetta world, and it's oh so fucking violent. I found myself doing terrible things. I mean, it's to cannibals who are trying to eat you and fell beasts from the Stygian depths, but good lord, the bloodshed. And nudity out of nowhere. Conan is voiced perfectly by Ron Perlman, who'd end up being Conan's dad in the Momoa remake. I keep trying with that movie. There's just something off. Tell me what it is, listeners. Also in the show notes. Anyway, the gameplay is basically God of War, which is no surprise given it came out in 2007. But I'll take that engine and that style gameplay if it means I get to battle alongside the Queen of the Black Sails. That is another cool aspect. Most Conan games are original stories. This is a Howard original, with a lot of embellishment, but the embellishments seem mostly drawn from other Conan tales in the Howard cycle of books. There's a little too much simple problem solving and carry this big rock over to the stone altar kind of shit, but when it's cooking, oh boy, is that why I've been exhausted every day at work last week? That's right. But that's okay because I know what's best in life. By the way, everyone loves that scene. Everyone repeats that quote, "Crush your enemies," blah, blah, blah. The best part of that scene is the opening, when Conan's swordmaster is speaking to another across the table, and he says, "My fear is that my sons will never understand me." And that's it. That's his only dialogue for the entire film. Where's his movie? Where's his legacy comic book? Or anthology novel? Anyway, Conan, Xbox 360, 2007, a video game from 20 years ago, based on a character whose continued popularity is based on a film from 40 years ago, based on a series of stories from nearly 100 years ago. I'm keeping things current here at the Roundup. Or, you know what, maybe I'm being prescient. Oliver Stone's original draft of Conan the Barbarian, heavily rewritten by Milius, obviously, wasn't set in an age long ago. He had the Hyborian age in the future, after we'd wiped ourselves out. So who knows? Maybe I'm training to be the next Subutai. We'll see. Way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh man, do you remember the Conan the Barbarian stunt show at Universal Studios? That fucking big set, that fucking laser tunnel, like they had in one of those Frankie Goes to Hollywood Relax videos? How many videos did you need, guys? And then, at the end, they had a fucking dragon come out. Oh man, I want to be in that show. Bring it back. I'll start lifting, bro. No, I won't ever stop talking about Conan the Barbarian. Hit it, HP.
Come and listen to a dog that's hip. Here we go, it's Ribs Picks, yeah!
Thank you, HP. Are we ever going to get the monkey cam? Body horror. There's been a resurgence. Was there ever a resurgence? No, there was not. Body horror fans, and I'm addressing you directly now. You have my admiration. Truly. I can't do it. I mean, I have, and I will continue to, but I finally had to accept that body horror just ain't my thing. But those of you who love it, and those that do really love it, you are a rare breed. Not satisfied with ghoulies and ghosties, unimpressed with masked mute slashers. You scoff at serial killers and frown at folksy horror. To you, The Substance was a sitcom. To you, Cronenberg at Christmas time is completely natural. You've clearly come to terms with this meat engine strung on bones with a fleshy thinking mass trapped in a cranium that we all inhabit, and may Crom bless you. Sorry, it just came out. How else to describe your glee in watching said flesh bubble and ooze and mutate and to drip and blah? Oh boy, did I mention I'm not a body horror fella? I also mentioned Cronenberg. He is the patron saint of body horror, mainly due to the fact that even though he was mired in exploitation, he never seemed to stoop to it. Even something as rabid as Rabid has an air of respectability to it. So when he started forcing audiences to stare at the terror contained within the human body, it was a bit easier to take than something like Parasite 3D or The Incredible Melting Man. I'd go so far as to say Cronenberg legitimized the genre when he completely mutated Jeff Goldblum into a no longer human monstrosity in The Fly. Is The Thing a body horror movie? It's gotta be. Well, I guess that makes John Carpenter the king of body horror. Sorry, Dave. You know, I attended the premiere of Dead Ringers, Cronenberg's twin surgeon body horror film with Jeremy Irons and Genevieve Bujold. This is 1988, so I'm 15. And Cronenberg is in the lobby talking to someone. So I stand a few feet off, waiting for an opportunity to say something fumbling and awkward. And as the conversant finally leaves, I step in to say hello, and his wife swoops in, looking straight at me, and says to him, me, "We have to go." And Cronenberg looks at me for way too long, and then turns and walks off. Not a word. Not even a, "What are you gonna do?" shrug. Like I wasn't even there. So, love you, Dave. Fuck you, Dave. John Carpenter is the king of body horror. Where am I going with this? Can I bring it all together? Yes, I just did. Segues are my speciality. I saw the new body horror film Together. Anyone order a trailer?
I love you.
Okay.
What's going on?
I don't know. Since the move, Tim and I haven't been on the same page.
Please. Do you love each other?
Maybe we're just complacent.
Well, you know, complacency can sometimes simply be harmony. You know, this could be the beginning
When you roll over, then you're on my hair.
of something wonderful.
Tim.
We spend our lives in search of the other half. If you think you found that, don't be so quick to let it go.
I think something's happening to us.
Listen to me. Listen to me. We've got to get out of here. Now. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Billy, wake up!
You'll be okay. Whiskey for the pain.
Boy, any chance to hear the Turtles song Happy Together is a good one, and that's any cover, including that one. Now, that does not mean send me terrible covers of the Turtles Happy Together, you fiends. I love that song. Well, Michael Shanks. That's a name we're going to be hearing a lot, I suspect. He is the writer-director of Together. Now, he'd done some shorts and some television work in Australia, so this is his debut. Fuck you, Michael Shanks. So much goddamn talent, so much assurance. In previous episodes, I've mentioned the unwarranted hate of Wes Anderson's productions because, whatever the content, they're an assured style. And that's what we've been getting lately. Not as mannered as Wes Anderson, of course, but as meticulous and considered. Talk to Me was a fucking home run. If you haven't seen that, go watch it right now. Barbarian, again, go watch. Heretic, stop the show and go watch. Though this isn't the first time we've talked about that Hugh Grant and Sophie Thatcher shocker. Anyway, Shank demonstrates such a seasoned vision for the film that I wouldn't be shocked to know it was his 10th feature and not his first. Style goes a long way in telling a story, and he's got that down, as well as the storytelling chops. The film stars real-life couple Alison Brie and Dave Franco. I love Alison Brie. Unabashedly. She's one of those performers who is so good in a role that the first time you see them, you assume that is them. Such was Alison Brie when I first saw her as Trudy Campbell on Mad Men. And actually, she does seem pretty close to that character in Enthusiasm, but she followed that up with a mousy turn in Community. And from there, it's been as varied and as interesting as any actor currently working. And yes, she's fucking adorable. An elfin brunette with blue eyes. She could be a Frazetta drawing, actually. Oh my god, somebody make an Alison Brie painting in the style of Frazetta. Speaking of, they're making that Masters of the Universe flick right now. She's playing Evelyn. They already have my money. I always felt bad for Dave Franco, starting a career in the shadow of the tornado of talent and creepitude that is his brother James, but he's always delivered solid comedic performances. Did I say unabashedly earlier? That's also my love for his flick 21 Jump Street. I could watch that movie on a loop. And I have. Unabashed, I say. He's really good in that film. Subtle in an incredibly unsubtle environment. And since then, it's been James? Oh yeah, he's Dave Franco's brother. And fucking good for him, man, because he and Alison Brie are not only the stars, but the producers of this film. So if his instincts are leading him here, like Shankman, I'm really curious to see what he does in the future. They're both great here, by the way, no surprise, though I was wildly impressed with Alison Brie's flexibility. Jesus, she needs no special effects. They play Tim and Millie, a mid-30s couple who've decided to say goodbye to their Manhattan life and settle in the country, where Millie has been hired as a teacher in the tiny town's even smaller school. I say they've decided, but really Millie has decided. Tim is a musician who was once on a label but has fallen off and now basically attends to Millie while still clinging to the hope of music stardom. Once they've settled in their very rural home, the house is surrounded by woods. Not a forest. Woods, man. Deep and dark, and don't go out there after nightfall. On a hike intended to rekindle their fallow relationship, they fall into a cave where all sorts of terrifying shit occurs and gets the plot in motion. I'd say the MacGuffin driving the movie is ultimately unnecessary, but Shane manages a pretty nifty trick in each of those sequences. He suffuses his jump scares with dread. He does it a lot. They're not telegraphed, and they don't feel like a cheat. And if this man ever makes a movie about nightmares, we are all doomed. Scary fucking imagery in this flick. Brav fucking oh, man. Body horror has taken many forms and themes over the years. Hey, is the Wolfman body horror? American Werewolf in London says yes. Get me Paul Waller. We've got a new angle on Little Old Lady Got Mutilated Late Last Night. Can you tell I love saying it? Body horror at its core is fear of transformation. That has manifested as parables of sex, of mutation, of addiction, of self-loathing. But codependency? Way to surf the zeitgeist, motherfucker. And what better way to do it than with an actual married couple? Just an extra side of fucked up coleslaw. Millie and Tim start finding each other completely irresistible. Magnetic, even. And anytime they're in contact, they just can't seem to separate. This results in the requisite skin-crawling and stomach-churning so loved by the body horror community, which is almost entirely done practically, it would seem, though any enhancements made with a computer, I guess, were welcome because it never felt uncanny. This is not a spoiler, I'm not trying to spoil this movie at all, but these two start coalescing anytime they're together, and it is disturbing and awful and so much fucking fun. Seriously. And funny. The movie is effortlessly funny. Not set up joke ha ha ha, but natural laughs throughout as the characters interact with each other and their new and unthinkable situation. Those characters remain strong throughout, exploring all these agonizing themes of love and commitment and complacency and, codependency. I, myself, am wildly codependent. You are listening to a man who has been in heavy relationships every day since he was 16. Until about 4 years ago. More than 3 decades, so I understand the pull and the need and the rudderless feeling without. And maybe this movie struck a nerve a little harder with me, but that isn't why I'm recommending it overall. Codependency as a theme is fine, and it is a fucking innovation, but the real innovation here has made the first truly accessible body horror film. It's got a level of restraint lacking in most. Hell, most are just like, look how fucking gross this is! And while there's no shortage of revulsion-tinged moments in the film, it isn't trying to dislodge your lunch. I know purists will cry, it's like a PG version when the unrated XXX director's cut is available, but have some mercy on us, body horror people. We're still worried about the creature from the Black Lagoon. And that's this week's Roundup. Thank you all once again for tuning in and listening to me ramble. Tune in again this Friday. We've got Yautja Fest returning. What's a Yautja? It's the actual name of the Predator. So HP and I are cloaking ourselves and running unseen through Predator 2. That's the LA-based Predator flick with Danny Glover and the world's worst actress Maria Conchita Alonso. That is available Friday. Patreon subscribers have had it at least a week. Plug. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Check the fucking show notes. It's gonna be bursting with fruit flavors. For Ripley Jean, I'm Father Malone. We leave you now with some wise words.
You hear him howling around your kitchen door. You better not let him in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again. Werewolves of London.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.